Welcome to another episode of the Muffed Punt podcast. My name is Brandon, and tonight we have a special episode. Tonight we have been invaded by Packers Nation. Tonight we have Paul and his buddy Nate here on the show to bring us some fun Packers chat. What's up, boys? How we doing?
Living the dream.
Doing good. Ready to talk about my heartbreak. It's going to be fun.
It's fresh. It's still fresh in the heart.
Yeah.
You know, I thought it would be very apropos to have two Packers fans on the show. Paul's normally outnumbered by Eagles fans on the show. Sorry, Paul. So it's only fair that tonight I'm outnumbered and the Eagles fans have taken a back seat. I'm here to help steer the ship, but Paul and Nate are here to kind of get things moving. So why don't we jump right in? Tampa Bay Buccaneers defeated the Green Bay Packers 31-26 in the NFL Conference Championship. Tell me how you feel, boys. It's another year of disappointment, a great season all in all, but to have another bittersweet end, where are we at?
So, I mean, you can't complain too much about when you get to the conference championship 5 times in 11 years, even if you only win one of them. Because, I mean, we got a Super Bowl that one time. I think that Matt LaFleur is overachieving so far. I thought this was going to be a longer rebuild. So I'm very happy the fact that we got there. Plus, I mean, it's not like we're in the NFC East where the best team doesn't even go 500. And how does it feel to be an Eagles fan if your team can't go 500?
Not everybody has that luxury, my friend.
So, I mean, sure, it sucks that didn't make it to the Super Bowl. There were a couple key plays that really screwed us over, and that pass interference call at the end, if they weren't calling that entire game, then they should not have called it on there. Also, there was a big holding call that was missed on that same play. So worst case, it should have been offsetting penalties. That really sucked. But NFC Championship, we'll see what happens in the offseason. And yeah, I'm not going to bitch too much about getting to the NFC Championship, no matter how brokenhearted I was. Nate?
Yeah, it hurts. It's fresh. It sucks. We've been there so many times. You know, I think 3 times in the last 5 years, 5 times in the last 10 or 11 years. We got that one Super Bowl a decade ago, and that was awesome. I hate going into the playoffs as a number 1 seed. It seems like every time we do, we don't make it. Whenever in the wild card, we somehow pull stuff out our butts and make things happen. But there was a few blown calls at the end that I don't feel weren't called earlier in the game. That, I mean, it was obviously there. As a Packers fan, I hate seeing it, but I understand why they threw the flag. I don't understand how we have the MVP in the league for the 3rd time and we are on the goal line and we kick a field goal. It blows my mind. That being said, Matt LaFleur probably looked at his stats and said, this is the better move, hoping our defense could get maybe a 4th pick, strip sack, something to get us the ball back within that 2 minutes. It didn't happen, but we were so close. It was so close. We had 3 interceptions on the worst quarterback in the history of the NFL, and we can't turn that into points. We have 2 back-to-back 3-and-outs off of turnovers. That just kills your momentum. That kills everything. And I think that was the real dagger, was that you get 2 turnovers back-to-back and have 2 3-and-outs back-to-back, along with the absolutely mind-boggling Mike Pettin call on defense at the end of the halftime, right before halftime. You call a man coverage. You have Kevin King looking at the quarterback, which is clearly he's thinking it's zone, and no safety over the top. It was just the worst coverage you could have called in that situation. So it hurts, but at the same time, like Paul said, I'm really glad that we've been there. Just got to find a way to get over that hump.
Man, there's so many places that I can kind of bounce off of that. So many things that I want to talk about. The first thing that comes to mind for me was just the Packers offense in this game What do you think it was that just never allowed them to just uncork it? I think Paul said, is this a game that's going to be like anything that you can do, I can do better? And I kind of wondered throughout the game, like I was just waiting for that kind of spark for them. And then they just never seemed to come on offense. What was it about the Packers offense in this game that just never allowed it to get those flashes that we saw all season long?
So there were a couple of things. Devontae Adams didn't have the best game ever. That was, I mean, if you're going to try to stop someone, that's the guy on the Packers you have to stop. And then the first half, Robert Tonyan and AJ Dillon, they didn't really get involved that much. I actually had a friend who I was talking to during the game, and they said that where's all the plays going to Tonyan and Dillon, because if you do that, you can start to get back into the game a little bit. And then I thought it was interesting because that's what happened. They started throwing to Robert Tonyan a little bit. Dillon started coming out of the backfield. It looked good. They came back, and in the end, it just too little, too late. And that, I don't care what anybody says. Two things. First, the third down right on the goal line, Aaron Rodgers should have ran it. They're on the 8. He's going forward a little bit. Even if he doesn't get to the end zone, he gets at least 4 or 5 yards right there. And then it's 4th and goal at the 3. And you've got a lot more play calls that you can get there. And then kicking a field goal on 4th down. What are you doing? That's just as bad a call as when Pete Carroll decided to throw it instead of run it with Marshawn Lynch in the Super Bowl a few years ago. You can't do that. You have one of the most talented quarterbacks in the history of the game, MVP of the league this year, probably, and you're going to take the ball out of his hands on 4th down. You can't do that. That's just inexcusable. I mean, having said that, I don't want LaFleur to go. He's very young. I see a lot of upside there. Hopefully he'll learn from being young and dumb and not make that mistake in the future. Yeah, it wasn't a lot to get going. And when they finally did, they took the ball out of Rodgers' hands.
Were you surprised when did you find out just as much as me, I did right before the show, that apparently Aaron Rodgers didn't know that was going to happen? He thought he was going to have four downs.
I don't know. I've heard a little bit. If I'm Aaron Rodgers, I don't think that anybody's taking the ball out of my hands 4th down after the season that I just had. So it wouldn't surprise me if he thought he was going to have 4 downs. So, I mean, if you think that you're going to have 4 downs, then maybe throwing the ball instead of running it on 3rd is the better choice, because if you're on the 8 rather than the 3, your receivers have more room to run some routes, because sometimes when you get in the red zone, you get a little bottled up and you're losing some free space. And that's what Aaron Rodgers has always done. He's always bought time, let his receiver scramble around. But I don't know, throwing it or not throwing it, kicking it on 4th down. I will never forgive Matt LaFleur for that.
So for me, it was the running game. We never got that consistent running game going. Aaron Jones never had that big run or not even yardage wise, but the run where he bounces off a guy and gets an extra 10 yards. Where in the last 6-7 weeks, we've seen him do that. He might not get over 100 yards every game, but he has a big lightning play. He has a big momentum play where he, as small as he is, somehow defies physics and gets 10 yards when he should have lost 2. I didn't see that running the running game where it has been. I give a lot of credit to Tampa Bay's front defensive line, and their linebackers. They are godly. If you look at their front 7, it is stupid. Jason Pierre-Paul, Ndamukong Suh, White, the list goes on.
Okay, first, why did no one give JPP some fireworks to play with and distract him? Because he was too locked in for this game. Really kind of pissed me off.
Well, the thing is, the Packers had fireworks before the game and after touchdowns. I thought it'd be quivering in a corner thinking he's going to lose another thumb. But here he is trying to get strip sacks. The guy is just weird.
Yeah, not a fan.
Yeah. So, and when the Packers get that running game going, that's what opens up Tonyan. That's what opens up the 50-yard Scantling bomb. That's what opens up Devontae. I wasn't expecting Devontae to get over 100 yards receiving. I was thinking about 65 and 2 touchdowns. He dinks and dunks. He gets where he can. He's on the number one pretty much consistently, unless you're the Rams and decide to have the best cornerback just not follow him. But it's the Rams, so whatever. But he dinks and dunks. He gets his yards, and a lot of his yards are after the catch. You don't see him going down and getting those 50-yard bombs as consistently as you used to. He's a very precise runner. So he knows exactly where Aaron's going to throw that ball. And he just – the running game wasn't there to pull an extra defender closer to get him open. And it showed. It slowed our offense down. Equinemius St. Brown dropping the touchdown pass looked like a little 13-year-old kid trying to play ball. You're going to have to edit that out. But, yeah.
All good, buddy.
Yeah. I just got really sad there for a minute. I'm sorry.
So, hey, you brought up the wide receivers, right? Last week in the show, we were talking about them drafting Jordan Love, and Paul was saying, give it some time just because we can't say it was a crap pick as of yet. But, we got another Packers fan here. You guys we're on the subject of wide receivers. Would it have been nice for Aaron Rodgers to have a little more help in this particular situation?
Jordan Love was a crap pick. Absolute dog water. We had Jerry Jeudy drop into our laps from the gods, an all-pro wide receiver that went to Alabama, which Paul and I are big Alabama fans. Don't know how, we're from Wisconsin, but whatever, it is what it is. And I was so excited when I saw them traded up. I'm like, oh my God, here we go. We got our guy. We got a wide receiver. Aaron Rodgers finally has a number one wide receiver. Number one draft pick wide receiver, not number one. I mean, Devontae Adams, Jordy Nelson, they were great, but a first round draft pick spent a wide receiver, and then the pick comes in, and it was Jordan Love. And I not gonna lie, I was pretty upset by it. But with that being said, when the Packers drafted Aaron Rodgers, I was pretty upset by it too. I thought it was a really bad pick. Actually, I have Facebook memories that come up reminding me that I told the Packers they need to fire Ted Thompson because Brett Favre was the dude. Why would we ever do that? I was wrong, and I get reminded by that every year. So maybe I'll be wrong again. I hope I am. I hope that we can have 3 Hall of Fame quarterbacks back to back to back. I don't know if Jordan Love's that guy. I hope so, maybe. But I think wasting a first and a fourth on a guy that's going to sit on the bench for 3 years when we needed a wide receiver so badly, I think we could have got him in the second round, and then that fourth round pick, we could have used the second and fourth to move up to get him. I don't think anybody was going to take him from where did we get him? 24th overall, 27th overall. I don't think anybody was going to take him in the last of that round. Most of those teams that are there obviously have either got it via trade or they are really good and have a playoff team that's pretty consistent. So they're not drafting quarterbacks in the first round. They're drafting offensive linemen. They're drafting cornerbacks. They're drafting needs for their team like the Packers should have done.
So all year long, the Packers have struggled with run defense. It's been an issue for them. They actually did pretty decent in this game. They only gave up 76 yards of rushing offense. And that was one of the things that, to me, I was kind of surprised. I really expected the Bucks to really go run heavy in their offense for this game. But what was it for you guys with this defense that you wish you saw more, that you thought that really would have helped them do better in this game, other than get sacks?
Having Kevin King sit on the bench. He was injured. He shouldn't have been playing. He's a free agent. I hope they let him go. I don't want any of that. I don't care if he turns out to be an all-pro somewhere else. You gave up 2 touchdowns in an NFC championship. At least one of those was unforgivable, the one at the end of the first half. So Kevin King, get the out of here.
For me, the first half of the season, we were dropping Preston Smith back in coverage, covering the slot and the slop from the tight ends. Didn't really understand that, seeing he had double-digit sacks last year, had a breakout season. I know Rashawn Gary is emerging as a solid player, but I felt the Smith brothers kind of got tarnished by Mike Pettin this year. I think they changed at the second half. The second half of the season, our run defense has been great. I haven't been worrying about it like I was when who did we play that just or Dalvin Cook just torched the shit out of us for 200 yards. For me in that game, on the defense side, Kevin King is a moron. He was injured. I hope he's not back. I hope if he's back, I'm buying his jersey from the pro shop and burning it in their parking lot. I swear on my mother's grave.
Wow. Wow.
That's a promise, folks.
Mom would be pissed about that.
Mom would join me, and we would be drinking wine and beers. All right. She'd shotgun one. I'd shotgun a wine because that's her thing. But we would be burning Kevin King's jersey in the parking lot. He has the end of the halftime, right before halftime, when I'm 50 pounds overweight and I could have played better defense on that guy. I would have lined up 40 yards away from the line, so I wouldn't have to run as far, but I could have played that. And Kevin King, I hope he goes to the Jaguars or to the Dolphins or some other dog water team that just needs to blow 30 grand on a guy that's going to do absolutely nothing but destroy their playoff hopes.
30 grand?
Yeah. He's not even worth it. No. He's not even worth the veteran minimum.
30 grand.
Minimum,
Rookies
30
make
grand.
more than that on a practice squad. 30 grand.
I make more than 30 grand. He doesn't deserve what I make. No,
It's out here throwing bombs in his first episode, folks.
I meant to say 30 million. I got a little excited. But I mean, he should be working at a freaking Starbucks. So at least that way he's not, he knows where he's got to be.
We were talking a little bit about free agency there a little bit. One of the big free agents for you guys, I think, coming up is Corey Linsley. That's going to be a really big one for you guys. Do you think he's going to be coming back for the Pack?
I think he will be. I think that they're going to let some other people go, but I think that they have to bring back Corey Linsley.
Yeah, he's the second best center in football. The best guy, I don't remember his name, but I was watching some film on him. It's Tampa Bay center. He is a savage. But Linsley, I loved him. I hate Ohio State with a passion. Comes in from Wisconsin. Hashtag on Wisconsin. Go Bucky, go. But he's from Ohio State. And the minute we drafted him in, the fifth round, I'm like, that's a starter. You watch his film. He was solid at Ohio State. He's solid now. He's had a great season. It all comes down to numbers. We've just poured a lot of money into Bakhtiari's contract.
Do you think Bakhtiari's overpaid?
For his age, yes. He is one of the best left tackles in the game when he's healthy.
I think he's a little overrated, and I don't think he deserves quarterback money.
I think the contract, it was either giving him that or letting him walk. Honestly, if I'm going to have Aaron Rodgers blindside, I'd rather have a guy that I know is going to do a good job. He's gotten injured. He also can run 17 miles per hour when he ran with Aaron Jones for that 80-yard touchdown earlier this year. I think next gen stats had him at 17 or 18 miles an hour. It was crazy. He's a great offensive tackle. I think Corey Linsley is a huge piece to our offense. I don't know if we can draft a guy that's going to fill that void.
You can't.
With that being said, Ellington is a freak of nature. I don't know if you guys know who that is. He played every position on the offensive line this year, and I don't think he allowed a single sack.
Yeah, he had a great.
It's in his second year out of Mississippi State.
The SEC.
Yeah, and he was phenomenal. He played center. He played right guard, left guard. He played left tackle for a bit. He played right tackle for a bit. He was unbeatable. He's no Nelson, but he is a great, versatile offensive lineman. I don't see him going over to center, but I think if we do lose Linsley, he might see some time there this year. But I think Linsley's going to come back. Unfortunately, Aaron Jones' time in Green Bay is pretty much done because we can't afford him. Unless he wants to take a very small contract and I've heard some people floating this around, a franchise tag, which for Green Bay, you'd never see. I can't remember the last time we franchised a player.
Would you pay Aaron Jones? Because I wouldn't. I actually have a bet with somebody that Green Bay is not going to pay Aaron Jones because I
I
don't
would
think they
not.
pay running backs anymore.
You don't pay running backs anymore. And that's the thing. I love Aaron Jones. I love his swag. I love his abilities. He beat the odds as a 5th-round draft pick.
Yeah, and I think someone's going to pay him. I think that he's really going to get paid.
Absolutely.
He deserves it. But after watching the Gurley contract and the Zeke contract, I have no desire to go down that road for that much guaranteed money.
The only running back that I think has ever been worth getting paid
AP
was Adrian Peterson. And he got railroaded at the end. I don't care. He got railroaded. He didn't deserve to miss that last season. He should still be with the Vikings if he wants to be. That guy is a freak of nature. I've loved him since college, but that's the only guy I could ever see paying that kind of money to. Gurley, I mean, yeah, they gave him that big contract, huge contract, and his knees were bad. And he knew his knees were bad. He did it so he get a quick paycheck, and he knew he wasn't going to be playing at the level he was playing for much longer. Who else was the big Calvin
Zeke.
Zeke. I mean, well,
Melvin Gordon III.
Melvin Gordon did get a big payday.
Yeah, he did. He didn't get as much as he would have if he would have taken the Chargers contract, but he still got paid.
He got okay money.
For a running back, he got great money.
I'm talking. Well, yeah, but look what Zeke's getting paid. Look what AP signed $100 million contract. What's Gordon signed, like 3 years, $20 million?
No, I think it was like 3 for 30. It was like 10 or 12 a year.
That's all right. He's a Wisconsin boy. He deserves it. But I like what we have with Jamal Williams, and then Corey Dillon really showed what he had in the last half of the season after missing 5 games due to COVID. So I'm okay with where we are without Aaron Jones. I'm going to miss him. I wish there was some way we could keep him, but I have a feeling his franchise tag is going to be probably like, what, 15 million, 18 million ish.
I don't think it'd be that high, but it'd be high. And honestly, I don't want Aaron Jones to get franchised. I really want him to get paid because 5th-round draft pick that comes through and turns into top 5 running back in the league, that never happened. So I hope he gets paid. I will cheer for him wherever he ends up, as long as it's not the Chicago Bears. And
no, he can go to the Bears. They still got Mr. Trubisky at quarterback.
No, they don't.
Who are they going to have at quarterback?
Trubisky is not on the Bears roster anymore. They're not bringing him back.
Hold on, I got to go get a beer for that one. That's a cheers me moment.
So we just got done talking about one, Aaron. How about we talk about the other? You guys think Rodgers is coming back or what?
Obviously.
I think he's posturing because I mean, let's face it. We all know that his days are numbered in Green Bay because, I mean, there's one quarterback who's ever played well into his early 40s, and he just lost to him. And Rodgers he's getting old. I would rather have Rodgers than a lot of quarterbacks out there. I'm not going to say all, because if they could somehow trade him for Deshaun Watson, I would take Deshaun Watson because there's 10 more years of a pretty good quarterback. But I really think that Aaron Rodgers is just posturing because he wants more money. And that's fine. You're the MVP of the league. Go get your money.
No, Aaron Rodgers is going to be back. There's no way he's not. I don't think it's posturing for money. I think what he said was in the heat of the moment, knowing that some of his really good friends, that team got really close this year. They were closer than a lot of other teams in the past, even when they were successful teams. This team had a vibe around it. But like Lindsley and Aaron Jones, that's like his brothers. I think he was just taking in the moment of, he just lost an NFC championship that very well they could have won. And he knows that some of his good friends aren't going to be back. And he doesn't know, with them drafting Love, he doesn't know if they're going to bring him back. Now, they're going to bring him back. There's no way, unless some team wants to eat up a stupid amount of salary cap on him, there's no way they can trade him until next year. I think he's going to come back this year, same contract. He's already making stupid amounts of money. So I don't think he's going to get a new contract. I think it's going to be what it is. And then next year is probably his last year in Green Bay.
So the next one I had for you guys is I have 2 suggestions that I was thinking of for your new defensive coordinator. Feel free to shoot both of them down, but if you do, I would like possibly your own suggestion. Okay. So 2 guys that I saw that were on the list that I thought would be fun. One would be Lovie Smith, another former NFL head coach, but I think was always good with defense. He just lost his job at the University of Illinois. So it's been kind of rumored that he might make a comeback in the NFL. The other one is Marvin Lewis, another guy that I don't really think will likely get another head coaching job right now, but as I think is a good defensive coordinator. And that could be another guy that could possibly come into Green Bay and help you guys out. What do you guys think?
I think Lovie Smith is really interesting. I don't think he's a great head coach. And, he spent a lot of time in the NFC North. It'd be good for him to get some wins for once in the Bears-Packers games because Lord knows he lost enough of those. I think that's a very interesting pick because the years that he was in Chicago, they always had a solid defense. And who was the other one you said, Marvin Lewis? I think that's an interesting pick because he always seemed to be more of an offensive guy, at least in my mind. So I don't know if I would take him as a DC. Lovie Smith, that'd be fun. He better at least get an interview if that's real.
You. If Lovie Smith comes to Green Bay for an interview, I'm standing at the front doors. I don't want anything to do with that man. He was horrible. I mean, he brought Chicago to 1 Super Bowl on Brian Urlacher's shoulders with Rex Grossman as quarterback, which, I mean, I guess is a feat on its own. But never in my wildest dreams, well, maybe not my wildest dreams, but my wildest dreams would I want Lovie Smith as my defensive coordinator.
Okay. Who do you want?
Oh, man. Mike Vrabel.
That is the dumbest thing you have said in at least the last 10 minutes.
Mike Vrabel? Why?
Because he's a head coach, you idiots.
Yeah. I don't. I mean, shit. If we're gonna name a guy that I would love to have, that's who I'd want. Am I gonna get him? No. He's never leaving Tennessee until they don't want him anymore. For DCs that are available or former head coaches that are available, Marvin Lewis. I liked him at Cincinnati. I liked him at Cincinnati. He was a solid coach. He never got the team around him that he needed, but he always outperformed what he had. Like Paul said, I think he was more offensive, but I could be wrong. Maybe he is a defensive guy, and I wouldn't mind bringing him in at least for a year until we can go and nab the guy that we really want. Paul and I were kind of talking about this earlier. It's a little late in the season to be getting rid of defensive coordinators.
Wait a second. No. We were talking about this. I'm the one who said it was stupid because it was too late. You're like, oh, there's plenty of time. There's plenty of time. Don't you dare. I will send a screenshot of this.
Go for it. We're on freaking radio. What are they going to do?
I'll send it to Brandon. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, Brandon, how much money you need? I got some Bitcoin. I got some Venmo. I got whatever you need, buddy.
Oh man, we got some right. Dogecoin on this.
Yeah. But yeah, Paul definitely did say that. I kind of took that from him. But after he said that, and after I replied saying we got plenty of time, I started thinking, shit. Yeah, who's out there right now? But the Texans made a really bad decision at a head coach, so maybe there is some other guys that they just didn't want. I don't know. It's tough. I'd have to look at a list just before I could see who I'd want. When they hired Patton, I'm like, why would we hire a guy that went 0-16 as a head coach as our defensive coordinator? And the first year was okay. The second year was pretty good. I mean, last year was all right until we met San Francisco for the second time in the NFC Championship game and got blown out of the water.
I think if he would shut the hell up and just coach and not be too much of a distraction, that Rex Ryan would be a good DC because he's got a great mind. He comes from, I mean, whose dad was. So
yeah, I mean,
I would love that. I don't think that it's a realistic thing, and I don't think that he could stop talking about himself long enough to not be a distraction. But ideally, that's probably who I would like more than anybody who's available right now.
Agreed. And luckily for us, I mean, I know he was up in Buffalo, and that's a small market too, and he still made some noise. But maybe as a defensive coordinator, being in Green Bay, Wisconsin, it might be a little bit harder for him to get on the national news waves. But yeah, I mean, if he put his nose to the grindstone and wanted to, be a great defense coordinator, he's good. It's an extracurricular talking that personally I'm not a fan of. I don't think most of Green Bay is. We kind of like to stay quiet and beat the crap out of you.
I think that's something that people from Philadelphia area can respect as well. But
I doubt it, because you guys like to talk a lot of shit and then suck.
Yeah, you guys lose a lot too. So
yeah,
I mean, one Super Bowl in your entire history? I think we had that before our first year in the league. We got a freaking world championship. I mean, come on.
Well, we did have a Super Bowl before it was called the Super Bowl, but yeah.
Yeah, we had like 13 of those. I'm pretty sure I have a McDonald's cup that has all of our world championships on it from like 1996 that my mom kept. I'm pretty sure that's in my cupboard right now. I can pull it out if you want. I can read off all the years.
No, that's all right. It only took you guys 34 minutes to flex on me, so it's not too bad. So
can I ask you what you guys want to have done with Carson Wentz, since we're going to go on the quarterback? What would you like to with Carson Wentz?
So I saw something recently that's kind of bothering me about him. The thing that I saw recently was after everything with the new head coach and everything, like he basically made it known again that he still has a problem with the Eagles. I'm kind of at the point right now where I just want to see them play it out in the beginning of the year between like a quarterback battle between the two of them and just see what happens. I had emotional attachment to him a lot because as Paul has said as well, I think he is a better quarterback than Jalen. I think he has more skill and a higher ceiling than Jalen does. But I just mentally, I don't understand. Like, I get why I would be pissed off if I was in that situation. Like, he carried that team of scrubs to the playoffs. And then after that, you basically did nothing to help him out thereafter, and then put the most of the blame on his shoulders. But I think this last year he played like crap for a lot of the year. So I don't know. I think it's tough. I think you give him a chance and kind of see where it goes from here. And I wouldn't be sad at this point to see it go, because I just don't think anything was managed well on this side. I think one of the major things I've seen in this offseason is it seems how poorly this organization is run. And it just shocks me how much it seems like they're run like the Cowboys, because I would think with that shining example of shittiness that you have that comes out of Texas there, Paul, you would have the ability to see that that's not the way to go. But I think at this point, it's just you play or you go. And that's where I fall on that one.
Did you just apologize to me for making fun of the Cowboys? I hate the Cowboys.
Texas.
No, yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure that you weren't trying to throw me in with the Cowboys fans. Those are, come on, that's a little far.
No, but you are a fan of Texas. I don't think that's a far shot.
Texas forever, bitches.
Yeah, Texas. Texas is a sweet state. I completely get where you're coming with Carson Wentz. I like Jalen Hurts. I think the reason he did better than Wentz this last year is because Jalen Hurts likes that read option, and he's good with it, and he did it a lot. And Carson Wentz, earlier in his career, was good at it, but I think he was pressured a lot to perform. And I think that's why he started sucking so bad this year. He was just stressed out, and he had no talent around him, and his offensive line was trash. So,
all right, first, if you're going to get stressed out about being a quarterback in the NFL, get out of the league. You shouldn't be here. Second, I think that Jalen did better than Carson because he kind of went through something similar at Alabama when Tua took his job. And I think that Jalen is the more professional of the two. I think that Jalen does possibly have a future in the NFL. I think the Eagles took him a little too early in the second round, but I like him, and I think that he can be a serviceable starter, but I really think that once Carson gets to a situation where someone wants to coach him up, that Carson, I mean, I've said this before, he's a top 5 or top 7 quarterback in the league, I think.
Just think if Sean McVay had Carson Wentz. how far that Rams team could go.
So that's a great segue for me. I have in front of me a list of 15 quarterbacks. We already talked about one, Carson Wentz, of these quarterbacks that could be on the move in this offseason. So another one of the ones that's on the list, Jared Goff. We've heard the Rams are interested in trading him. Do you guys think that that's going to be something that we see happen in the near future?
The Rams today just inquired what it would take to get Matt Stafford. So I think that Jared Goff is out as a starter for the Rams.
Yeah, the thing that would have to be is who would want him. Now the Lions might, as a serviceable guy for while they get their next future quarterback. I don't think Jared Goff's going to be a franchise quarterback anymore. He's mediocre at best. And if the Rams can somehow pull off a trade and get Matt Stafford and fit it all under the salary cap with the names that they have on that roster, go for it. Do it. Matt Stafford. I'm a Packers fan through and through. But I love watching Matt Stafford play. That guy is a thug. He's endured a lot in Detroit. He's had a lot of crap in Detroit. And look at him. Him and Aaron Rodgers are the only two quarterbacks to throw for over 45,000 yards with less than 45 interceptions in their career, in the history of the NFL. The guy can ball. And if he got on a good team, watch out.
The time that I decided that I could respect Matt Stafford was – I think it was his rookie year. It was either his rookie year or his second year. He got injured it was his shoulder. He dislocated his shoulder, was out for one play, came back in, threw a touchdown pass with a dislocated shoulder, and then had to sit out the rest of the game. It was at that point. I mean, having been a Brett Favre fan my entire life, it was at that point I could respect him.
That was actually the longest uncut scene from NFL films in the history of the NFL. It was like 4 minutes, 53 seconds long. And it was actually to win the game. He threw a touchdown. They called a flag, but at the same time, he dislocated his shoulder. He went out, got it in, threw the touchdown. And then he was like, I can throw it. I can throw it. And then I believe they went for two and he threw it again. And then his arm was literally hanging out of the socket as he's running back to the sideline. That is a guy that can play. I didn't pay too much attention to him at Georgia, but I mean, if he got on a good team,
Alabama was beating them in the championship games.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, but I mean, if he got on if Stafford got on a team if he got on the Packers, I mean, I don't want to trade for him by any means because we're gonna have to give up Aaron Rodgers. I love Aaron Rodgers, but I mean, I don't think Stafford's going to be around any longer than Aaron, so I don't think it would be a good trade-off. But if he got on a team like the Colts, I told my buddy, I'm like, watch out, Stafford's going to play for the Colts next year. The Colts are a quarterback away from being a contender.
Don't tell Paul that. Paul doesn't believe that.
I do.
What do you mean I don't believe that? I hated Phillip Rivers. I told you Phillip Rivers was going to lose the game.
I've just given you a hard time for giving me shit. That's all.
Punch you in your stupid face.
All right. So I have a couple other quarterbacks here on the list. I'm having fun going through this. So let's just keep rolling along here. Another one I want to get your guys' thoughts on is Jimmy G. What the hell happens to Jimmy Garoppolo at this point?
If it's something good for him, he gets back to New England somehow.
No. Yeah. I mean, I think that's the only place he'd succeed. He had a great run in San Francisco, but bye, trash.
I think San Francisco is giving up on him a little early. He's only been there for 2.5 years, 3 years, something like that.
I think it's been 3, but to be fair,
the 1 year was a torn ACL.
Well, 1 year was torn ACL, and then this year that literally like 3/4 of their starting roster was on injured reserve. But yeah, I don't know. I was never a big Jimmy G fan. Wherever he went after New England, he was going to get paid. But I don't know.
I think he ends up being one of the best backup quarterbacks in the league.
You think he's going to be a backup? You don't think he's going to start?
I think he's too injury prone for any team to want to give him a whole lot of money at this point.
That's fair. I do think that he could start in New England, but if you can convince him to take a backup job, then yeah, that's a great backup quarterback.
Well, he can start in New England because Cam Newton can't even throw the ball anymore. He went through 8 touchdowns this whole season.
So, all right, you already segued. You're making my job easy today, Nate. I'm telling you. Man. So Cam Newton, what do you guys think? Is he going to be back in the NFL again or what?
He's going to be back in the NFL. You better sign up for tight end, though. He can't play quarterback. Can't anymore. He's too injured. He can't play quarterback.
So this for me is one of the more intriguing things because Cam Newton had two very different seasons. Cam Newton had the beginning of the season before he got COVID where his form looked good. His accuracy was there. He had his lungs. He had his legs. And then he got COVID and it was never the same. So is it something where it was just long-term fatigue from everything that was going on with being sick, or is his career done? I would like to see him with a real quarterback coach, work him for a year. If he can find a way to do it, get to New Orleans for a year. That's where quarterbacks go to resurrect their careers and see what happens. But
who resurrected their career in New Orleans recently?
Teddy Bridgewater.
All right, I'll give you that. Anybody else?
Well, Jameis Winston had 1-for-1 for like a 70-yard touchdown. So Jameis ish.
Yeah, he also got benched for a tight end running back.
Got benched? He can get benched. He just never started.
They picked a tight end running back instead of him, and he threw 40 touchdowns the year before. Or was it 30? 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions?
It was like 34, I think, or something. But yeah, I mean, if you're the Saints, you have to give Taysom Hill a chance because you're paying him as a backup quarterback a lot of money for someone who just gets on the field every once in a while. So that I think was more just checking to see if he's the quarterback of the future. Because I think that Jameis says 1 more year in his contract in New Orleans. I could be wrong on that.
I think it was a 1 year with a 1 year player option.
So I think that. And I've hated Jameis Winston since he was at Florida State. There's a lot of shady shit that kid did back then.
Yeah, thinking he can get crab legs for free from a grocery store. Who does he think he is? He ain't Mia Khalifa.
So I've never been a Jameis fan, but I'd be very interested to see what he looks like the next time he steps on a field.
So just to wrap up the Cam Newton conversation, I did hear some rumblings in the offseason that Ron Rivera was thinking about giving him a multi-year deal. Would you guys think he could do anything with the Washington football team?
No, I think that Ron Rivera is a terrible fit for Cam. Ron Rivera is the reason that Cam's body is broken. If Cam wants to be a quarterback, he cannot go to Washington.
100% agree. And Washington's where quarterbacks go to die. I don't know if you saw what happened to Alex Smith. He almost died.
Yeah. So what do you guys think about Dwayne Haskins going to the Steelers?
I think it's a good fit for Dwayne there. Because if anybody can get a quarterback like that to perform, it's going to be the Steelers. But I don't think he's a quarterback in this league. I don't think he's a backup. So I think he's going to get drummed out.
I think if anybody can do it, it's going to be Mike Tomlin. If that guy can get Dwayne Haskins to figure out how to be a man and get his life back on track and be held responsible, it's Tomlin, man to man. I think he's the guy for the job. But even with that being said, I don't see him having a very long future in the NFL. He doesn't have what it takes. His decision making on the field is just about as good as his decision making off of the field.
If you're an NFL GM, both of you, do either of you take a risk with Justin Fields given the last 4-ish quarterbacks that have come out of Ohio State?
Like if I have the second overall pick, am I picking Justin Fields?
Yeah, if Trevor Lawrence is off the board, are you taking Justin Fields to be your quarterback of the future?
Probably.
You would?
Yeah.
I don't think I would.
The only reason I would is because Justin Fields is a baller. I hate it. I mean, I watched him in Friday Night Lights or whatever that show is on Netflix, and I didn't like him on that show. And then when he went to Georgia, I was like, all right, cool. I'm Big Ten guy. I don't got to deal with it. I don't care. Then he transferred to Ohio State. I'm like, I hate when players enter the transfer portal because they lose the starting job or don't get the starting job. I think it's a really cowardly way to play that position, but I get that's the world we live in. He balled out at Ohio State.
Do you want a list of other quarterbacks who have balled out at Ohio State and have failed in the NFL?
Yeah, Troy Smith, Braxton Miller, Dwayne Haskins, I'm sure I'm missing a few in between.
Terrell
Pryor. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, it sucks. They have horrible quarterbacks that do great in college. I think Justin Fields might have a chance to change that narrative, at least for one guy. P.S. Side note, I'm thinking Urban Meyer might convince him to take Justin Fields number 1 overall.
I think Urban Meyer was such a bad pick as the head coach for the NFL.
Right. I'm just throwing that out there. So when it happens, you can be like, damn, Nizzy called that 3 months ago.
Even though he never played for Urban at Ohio State?
Nope. Just Ohio State born blood. Yeah, I mean, whatever. Yeah, I mean, if I was Urban Meyer, I would take Trevor Lawrence, obviously. But it's Urban Meyer. He does a lot of stupid shit. So maybe he does take Justin Fields.
All right,
I'm just saying, I wouldn't be shocked.
We got my last 2 on the list here. We're wrapping up towards the end of the show. I got 2 guys left on the list that I want to talk about. So number 1 is Dak Prescott. What the hell happens with Dak Prescott in this offseason?
I don't think he's playing for a long time yet. That guy, he shattered everything in his leg. He's not going to come back till the middle of the season if he's lucky.
He'll be back for starting day, for opening.
You think?
Yeah.
So do you think he gets franchise tagged again? What the hell do you think happens?
I think it depends on really what the Cowboys do in the offseason, because right now they're linked to a lot of quarterbacks because it doesn't seem like they want to pay Dak. And I can't blame them. I wouldn't want to pay Dak either. But if I'm the Cowboys, I mean, you kind of have to pay Dak because he's put up some decent numbers there. Someone's going to pay Dak the same way that someone's going to pay Aaron Jones. And at some point, they'll probably regret it the same way that everyone regrets signing Kirk Cousins to those stupid deals. But
Dude, that was the greatest thing the Vikings ever did.
For us.
Yeah, thanks.
I don't know. I think that Dak – I don't think that Dak ever wins a Super Bowl. I think that Dak goes on to be Jay Cutler-esque.
Yeah. Dak Prescott. I mean, before he injured that ankle, he was lighting up the yardage. It was crazy. He was throwing 400 yards, 500-yard games. It was stupid. And the crazy thing about it is he had Mike McCarthy as his coach, which means they obviously weren't running the ball, even though they have a stud. But it's Mike McCarthy, so that's to be expected.
Are you calling Zeke a stud in the NFL right now?
He was before Mike McCarthy got there.
Are you sure? Have you looked at the stats? Because every year since his rookie year, his production has declined.
Are you sure? Second year he didn't get 1,800 yards?
Doesn't he lead the league in waving out of games?
Of what?
Waving out of games. He's one of the running backs I've seen the most that in big moments of the game, he waves out of the game. Take me out, coach.
Oh, yeah.
I've had too much.
Yeah, but then he does a stupid cereal feed me bowl thing. Like, hey, feed me some more. Yeah, no. Dak, it depends how much money he wants. If he is willing to go down and pay for, let's say, like a 2-year deal with the Cowboys and see how he responds, I could see him staying.
Okay, so how much is Dak Prescott worth to you? Because Dak wants, from what I've seen, Dak wants like 45, 40?
Yeah, he wants an absurd. He wants Patrick Mahomes' money. He ain't Patrick Mahomes. He wants that. The most I would pay him, the most would be 22 a year. The most. And that's still a good chunk of change. 10 years ago, 22 is what the top guy was making at quarterback.
Yeah, but now that's less than the average. Isn't the average like 26?
Right, but the average quarterback doesn't have his ankle implode on him. So until you know he's going to come back and bounce back healthier than ever, or at least to what he was, I can't pay you $45 million if I don't know if you're even going to step on the field. That's a crazy amount of money for a guy that just literally had to have leg surgery. His foot was going one way, the leg was going the other. It looked like a freaking dead deer, freaking head hanging out of the truck. Like it was just hanging there by its last thread. I can't pay a guy $45 million a year if I don't know he's going to be at the top of his game, where he's throwing for 35 touchdowns a year, 10 interceptions, and 4,500 yards. That's what I would expect out of that.
So would you franchise tag him if you're the Cowboys then? Because last year he was paid $31.4 million as the franchise. This year, I think it goes up, 15% or something?
Yeah,
So it's
probably
going to be
what, 35,
35-ish.
Yeah.
So would you franchise him?
No,
So
but
you let him walk.
I'm also not a billionaire that says money and here, I don't care. Let's see what happens. Jerry Jones is a crazy, crazy man that does really stupid shit, but he's a genius and has a ton of money to blow. So, I mean, he might be like, yeah, we'll give him 35. It doesn't count on our salary cap, so we can still keep a bunch of other people around. Make sure the buffet's loaded for Mike McCarthy. I mean, we're good. But I don't have $2 billion, $3 billion sitting around. For me, I wouldn't franchise like I would let him walk if he wouldn't take my 2-year $40 million deal, 2-year $45 million deal. That's probably pretty heavily incentive based.
All right. So I think we got enough time to squeeze in one extra here. So what do you guys think about Fitzmagic? Do you guys think he's going to go anywhere fun in the offseason?
Absolutely. It's Fitzmagic, man. He's great. I hope he stays forever. I love watching that dude ball out.
Have you ever seen anybody else in the history of the league in the same game look like an MVP and like a bust more times than Fitzpatrick has? I can't think of anybody.
Definitely hands down one of the most entertaining, that's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, he's either all in or all out. And when he's having a good day, it's awesome. And when he's having a bad day, it's awesome because that guy always has a smile on his face. The only time I've ever seen him not have a smile is when he got the starting job torn away from him, which he earned. But that's a whole different subject. But I hope he sticks around. I think he's a very, very good backup quarterback. If you're in a pinch, he can start. I think he'd be great behind Justin Herbert in San Diego. He would be great behind anybody that needs a good second up backup quarterback. I would take him for the Packers if he wants to come play for the Packers backup. Bye Boyle. I love you, bro. You're a great underdog story. I'm taking Fitzmagic as my backup. He's like Brett Favre. He's either going to throw for 4 touchdowns and 400 yards, or he's going to throw for 3 interceptions and have me breaking my TV.
I don't know if I can handle having that much machismo on one team with Aaron Rodgers and Fitzmagic on one team. The amount of
have you ever
did you not pay attention to the Packers when Matt Flynn was the backup quarterback there? Because Matt Flynn had at least as much machismo as Fitzmagic does.
Have you ever been to Wisconsin? We're bored.
No, I have not.
Come up here. We'll show you a thing or two, all right? A couple 30 packs of the Busch lattes, and we'll have you wearing jorts in December.
Jorts, I love it. All right, guys. So the main topic I wanted to get to this whole thing is Deshaun Watson. What in the hell is going to happen with Deshaun Watson? The new GM of the Texans came out earlier today, and he said, there is no way in hell I'm trading Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson saying basically there's no way in hell I'm playing another snap for the Texans. Where does this go from here?
Ooh, all right. The Texans are going to have to trade him. They did Deshaun dirty. I'm not saying that Deshaun needs to be in the conversations for who's GM and who's head coach, but he is your franchise quarterback, and you told him he would be in on it. He has every right to be pissed off. He has every right to want to be traded. I think if the Texans want to get anything out of him, they need to trade him sooner than later. Which I don't think they're going to do because that'd be just too good of a Texan move. So I don't know where he's going to go. I know he likes the Jets or Miami. Both have young quarterbacks. I don't like Darnold. I like Tua. I think he needs a couple of years yet of getting used to everything before he's going to start putting up numbers like Deshaun. But wherever he's going to go, he's going to ball out like he always has. And I don't know if that's the Jets or whoever's going to do it, it's going to be a high asking price. It's going to be 3-4 first rounds and maybe a second. I don't know where he's going to go. All I know is the Texans, you better trade him sooner than later, or you're not going to get anything for him. What you could have gotten if you would have done it sooner.
All right. Deshaun Watson. I think he has played his last snap for the Texans. Now, do I think that the Texans are going to trade him before the offseason, like before the end of the offseason, before opening day? I don't think that they will, because I think Deshaun Watson, he can be an MVP candidate. I don't think he's as good as Patrick Mahomes, but I think he's the next level down. So if I'm any coach in the NFL, if I'm in charge of the Packers right now and Aaron Rodgers is a little unhappy, I'm trying to see if I can flip Rodgers for Deshaun any way possible, because he's going to be a starter if he doesn't get injured for 10 or 12 years after this. And I think that he's great. From everything that I've read, he wants to go to the Jets, so maybe he's just stupid. I don't think that anybody goes to the Jets and succeeds unless it's Joe Namath, and it's 50 years ago.
Well, the reason he wanted to go to the Jets is he really likes the head coach that they hired. They clicked a lot, and he wanted him to be hired for the Texans head coaching job. That's why he wants to go to the Jets. The reason he wants to go to Miami too is because he loves the culture Brian Flores has started there. Sorry, I just had to throw that in there. But
no, I appreciate it. I think if he goes to Miami, I think that he takes Miami to the playoffs next year. I don't think that Tua is an NFL starter. I didn't think so when he was at Alabama. I think he's a great college coach or a great college quarterback, and he just doesn't. If you look at the way he plays, he doesn't seem to have the reads down. He scrambles around like a chicken with his head cut off a little too much. I don't think that Tua is ever going to be great in this league. So if I'm the Dolphins, I'm trying to get Deshaun. If I'm the Texans, I think that that's probably best case for them is getting Tua along with like 2 first-round draft picks, because they're going to be in complete rebuild mode. I hope that J.J. Watt gets traded away, because that guy deserves to be on a playoff team. Hey, come back to Wisconsin. We all love you because we remember you from the Badgers. Please come here. If you go to Pittsburgh to be with your other brothers, I will never forgive you because I hate the Steelers. But I get wanting to play with your siblings.
I'm all for him going to – if he wants to go to Pittsburgh, I get it. How often can you play with both of your brothers on an NFL team? But I think deep down, JJ bleeds green and gold like every human should. So if he could come back for 1 or 2 more years just to be a starting DN for us with him and Z on the outside rushing, oh my God, you better watch out.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun, but
that would be.
I don't know. To get back to Deshaun, I think he has played his last snap for the Texans. I think he ends up either in Miami or some really weird situation that isn't even on anybody's radar yet, because I think that someone is going to see the talent that's there and offer a Herschel Walker-like return. And I've said it before, if you can get a Herschel-like return on anybody, it's hard to say no.
Yeah,
so I think
it really is.
Yeah, I think that he ends up outside of Texas.
Yeah, he's not going back to the Texans. He's made it very clear. I know the Texans are living in a little bit of a dream world right now where they think, oh, no, he'll come back. Like, baby, come back. No, he ain't coming back. You got to get what you can get for him, and you got to do it quick.
All right. Well, it's been a lot of fun tonight, guys. I want to thank you guys so much for coming in. Nate, thank you so much for coming in tonight, giving us that Packer point of view. It was a lot of fun to have you come in and invade the show, if you will. I hope that you'll come back for us. We're going to have our Super Bowl show on. We're going to record on Tuesday. It'd be great to have you back, and then that way we can have your predictions for the Super Bowl in the coming week. What do you think, bud?
Absolutely. I will be back whenever you guys want me to come back. It was a pleasure. It was fun. The Eagles still suck, and go Pack go.
It's all right, bud. One of my best man in my wedding is a Cowboys fan, so as long as we can still be friends, we can hate on each other football-wise. I'm totally fine with it.
Whoa, you didn't tell me that your best man was a Cowboys fan.
You need to figure out how to pick friends better. We're gonna go to counseling.
No, not just that, but you need to be more upfront with these things because I don't know if I can have you in my life if you're friends with a Cowboys fan.
I really want to get him to come on the show at some point. When we talk a lot of crap about the Cowboys, I tend to send him clips as like egging him on to try to get him to come on the show. Maybe one day I can get him to do it, but it's my buddy Jose. If you're out there, Jose, we're talking about you, buddy.
Hey, Jose. Do not fuck this up. Come and talk shit. Let's go.
Jose, come on.
Let's go.
From one Hispanic to another, what is wrong with you? You're better than that. Cowboys? What? Next
I can
next
flip
time
him.
we
I
hear
can
you're
flip
like
him to a
from El
Packers fan.
Salvador or something. And that's the worst of Latin American countries. We all know that.
Well, guys, thank you again so much. It's been a lot of fun and a lot of laughs this week. I can't wait for Tuesday to come up so we can talk about the Bills game with Paul and give him a lot of shit about his Josh Allen jersey. I don't know if Nate knows about that, but he does now. And yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun in the coming weeks. So make sure you hit like, make sure you subscribe. And yeah, Muffed Punt Podcast. Have a wonderful rest of your night.
This was a lot of fun. I thought that it flowed pretty well, especially for Nate's first time.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I enjoyed it.
I'm a good talker.
Okay, we have to get that recorded.